Of course, when I'm out for the night, Ubisoft decides to announce some enormous news. We've been here before though. Something like this has happened before, although this seems to be on a bigger scale. So let's go over everything you need to know, of course. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Let me know what you think as well. I already read up on a lot of things that are out there, but I think this article kind of sums it up nicely. So let's go over to Video Game Chronicle, and they say Ubisoft details major company reset, 6 games canned, 7 delayed, and 2 studios closed. The organizational restructuring, which has been in the works for a year, is designed to help the French publisher reclaim its creative leadership and drive a sharper rebound, it said on Wednesday, following a turbulent few years of disappointing game launches and plummeting stock value, which has recently resulted in a minority sale to Tencent. As a result, 6 games have been cancelled, 7 delays, and 2 studios closed, the company confirmed during a media briefing attended by VGC. The 6 cancelled games did not meet Ubisoft's new enhanced quality expectations, it said, including the much delayed Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, a mobile title, and 4 other unannounced games, including 3 original IPs. So yeah, the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake will not launch after all. We've made the difficult decision to stop development on Prince of Persia the Sands of Time remake. We know this is deeply disappointing. The game carries enormous meaning for fans and for the teams who worked on it. While the project had real potential, we weren't able to reach the level of quality you deserve. And continuing would have required more time and investment than we could responsibly commit. And we didn't want to release something that fell short of what the Sands of Time represents. Prince of Persia as a universe and a legacy continues to matter deeply to us, and this decision does not mean we're stepping away from the franchise. Thank you for your passion, patience, and love for the Prince of Persia. Man, what a story this was. This game was announced with this trailer in September 2020 for a release in January 2021. But we all saw this trailer and we're like, what is this, a remake? It really doesn't look great. And that was because it was mostly handled by a studio that never did an original project before. They were just a support studio. So then Ubisoft delayed it indefinitely. They brought the project to Montreal, and they were working on it for more than 5 years now. Like, again, this was supposed to launch in January 2021. Maybe this trailer even has the date at the end. Here. What the heck? So Montreal, people in Montreal have worked 5 years of their life on this to see it cancelled. While there was a plan as of, I think, even November last year, that the game would be out, the new version of the remake, in January 2026. Tom Henderson saw like marketing materials for that. What a shit show. Like, they spent so much money, and they even in 5 years, they could not get this remake to work. It's mind-blowing to me. So yeah, what is the other, like a mobile title? The only one I can think of might be the Division Resurgence. They did a test recently. They even highlighted it recently during the New Game Plus showcase. We know the Rainbow Six Siege mobile game is still happening in February. Maybe this got cancelled. Like, we see Destiny Rising not performing well. I don't know if they got like do they want to spend the resources? That's basically what it comes down to supporting this mobile game that might not have a future. But yeah, we will likely find out what maybe some of the other games are. 4 or 3 new IPs they were working on, some sort of Animal Crossing style game, a new like extraction shooter, like a military one or whatever. Maybe those titles will just be cancelled now. But there is more. In addition, Ubisoft said it delayed 7 games to ensure they meet quality expectations. It did not say which games had slipped, but confirmed that the 7 titles include 1 title that was planned for the release before April 2026, which will now be released before April 2027. So yeah, then we go here. We see, as of November 2025, what their slate was. Again, Rainbow Six will still come out. Again, the Division, like, having the Rainbow Six having a release date, the Division did not have one. I would not be surprised if they, just like Prince of Persia, canned that. Although, that was, like, so close to being done. But yeah, we see the unannounced title, and yeah, that was going to be the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake. And them here in their official sort of press release, this includes the unannounced title, initially planned for fiscal year 2026, so again, before April 2026. That has been delayed to financial year 2027. This has to be the Black Flag remake. We are still waiting for Tom Henderson to maybe hear from sources, but no, it does seem like the Black Flag remake has been pushed. Now, this doesn't mean that it's launching in 2027. It's gonna launch before April 2027. I now think that this is going to be their November, October release. Put way more, like, it's a good thing. We heard from the jeu video rumor that was talking about what the remake was entailing, that they were kind of short on time. Like, they wanted to launch it in this current financial year for Ubisoft, so before April 2026. But we're not meeting the deadlines, etc. So actually giving that team more time to make this remake even better, maybe add even more content, I think is a good thing. But yeah, that does mean that we have to wait a bit longer. And I think the bigger news is, like, again, if Black Flag is in October, you remember what was in October before, right? Assassin's Creed Hexe. That's delayed now. Like, that's gonna be the 20th anniversary Assassin's Creed game now. So at the end of 2027. Like here, Ubisoft also announced it was delaying 7 other games to ensure enhanced quality benchmarks are fully met. This includes the unannounced title initially planned for fiscal year 2026, ending March 2026, that has been delayed to financial year 2027. Yeah, that's the Black Flag remake, but 6 other games? Again, that's gonna be Hexe. That is a lot of games that might be further out, but it's probably Far Cry 7. Maybe the Ghost Recon game that they planned for the next, like, for this year as well. Maybe the Rayman remake that they planned for this year as well. Splinter Cell remake maybe got pushed even further. Although, according to Tom Henderson right here, 5 years since the Splinter Cell remake was announced. It's never coming out, is it? I don't even want to say what date I have it at the moment. I was expecting that game to launch in 2026 at the latest. I thought it would come out last year. Like, you don't want to spend more than 5 years on a freaking remake. But yeah, it was probably 2027, 2028. Again, there's so much mismanagement going on. And we've kind of been here before. Like, Ubisoft delays Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, and Rainbow Six Quarantine. So, a funny story. I was actually invited to an event where I could play Gods and Monsters and Rainbow Six Quarantine in New York. I was really excited to go. And then literally one day before I was supposed to fly out, they delayed all these titles and they were pushed back. I mean, that was good because Gods and Monsters was really not going to be great. It had, I think, a year and a few months of development time. Like, they wanted to launch that in 2019 or early 2020, a year and a few months after Odyssey. It was the same team. So yeah, that game turned into Immortals. It's still, like, fascinating what Quebec was able to do in 2 years of development time. But yeah, Immortals turned out great. Watch Dogs Legion, I liked it. I like playing the game. They just had made some wrong creative decisions, but that was a way better game because they delayed it to the end of 2020 instead of having it out, I think, in March 2020 instead. Rainbow Six Quarantine, of course, turned into Rainbow Six. I had to look this up, but it was Rainbow Six Extraction, of course. But yeah, that game also got way more time. Turned out to be way better as well, but that, of course, had its own problems. Basically, it is good that they're delaying all these games. They really see right now, and that's one of the main reasons, if you launch in this market, you have to be of a certain quality before people will even turn their head and care. And if you do not meet that, then all the development years you spend on it are for nothing. So if you can spend an extra year to make sure it exceeds that or reaches that quality that we come to expect from big AAA games that you ask $70 for, then yeah, it's for the best. So yeah, what they also announced in regards to this is the new creative house structure. So basically, they want to make sure that they have, like, basically inside the company, smaller companies that are just focused on a few games, so that when they have a decision to make, they can way more easily apply that, be way more reactive, because they don't have to ask at, like, a leader who is maybe working on a ton of other games and doesn't have time to focus on this Just Dance situation, basically. So yeah, this is what the creative house structure looks like. We, of course, have Vantage Studios, and this is backed by Tencent. They put $1.25 billion into this and own 25% of this structure. This will be focused on scaling and extending Ubisoft's largest and established franchises to turn them into annual billionaire brands. So this includes Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. And now with the news of the 7 delayed titles, they push this plan backwards as well. Like, maybe they already expected in 2026 to have Black Flag out, Hexe out, Invictus maybe, Jade, and then also the Shadows post-launch. Maybe you got $1 billion if you combine it all, of course. Still ambitious. But yeah, they're gonna focus so hard on all these franchises. Getting Far Cry to $1 billion is crazy to me. Good luck with that. I think Rainbow Six and Assassin's Creed is possible, but also that means that they need to reach the same highs as, like, when Rainbow Six Siege was at the highest point. They have to reach that and maybe launch another game that also brings in money. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the first Assassin's Creed game to reach $1 billion. I find it hard to believe that they will ever make another Assassin's Creed that will be as successful as Valhalla, but we will see. We get Creative House 2, offering a competitive and a cooperative shooter experience. Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, and The Division. We of course know a new Ghost Recon first-person shooters in development. Again, that was planned for this year, probably delayed. Splinter Cell remake. They just got the game director back that left there at the start of development. Like, that game is probably 200 million in. Like, Splinter Cell's not big enough for that, but I digress. And The Division, I'm actually hopeful for The Division. I do think Massive can manage that, and I do think there is room for a Division 3 if they have realistic expectations to actually do well, especially with Destiny 2 not doing very well at the moment. Then we have Creative House 3, operating a roster of select Sharp Live services. Brawlhalla, For Honor, Riders Republic, Skull and Bones, and The Crew. So The Crew is actually the biggest one here. That actually sells really, really well. And I think probably with the amount of developers they have on Skull and Bones, Riders Republic, For Honor, and Brawlhalla, like, without having to fund a huge corporation like Ubisoft, those titles are probably in the green. It's probably looking good for them. But yeah, this is probably a very small part of Ubisoft right now. Then we have Creative House 4, dedicated to immersive fantasy worlds and narrative-driven universes. Anno, Beyond Good and Evil, Might and Magic, Prince of Persia, and Rayman. Like, I would not be surprised if Beyond Good and Evil 2 got cancelled as well, but I don't think so. They're still going to try that. Again, they said Prince of Persia. Canceling the remake doesn't mean we're stopping with the franchise. I really struggle to see what they're going to do. They had the Rogue Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. We know there's not going to be a sequel to The Lost Crown. I don't think the Rogue Prince of Persia did very well. I think they're gonna cool down on Prince of Persia. By the way, crazy thing, where's Watch Dogs? Where the Watch Dogs? Crazy. I would argue that's a bigger franchise than some of these titles, but of course the cost to make these games is way higher, so they need to sell way more to make that profitable. Creative House 5, reclaiming a strong position in the casual and family-friendly games. Hasbro portfolio, Hungry Shark, the Invincible Guardian of the Globe mobile game, Just Dance, Cat Shop portfolio, what the heck, Colibri portfolio, and Uno. So yeah, for us, only I would argue the first two Creative Houses are interesting. Maybe if the Rayman remake turns out great, I'm curious about that, and Beyond Good and Evil 2. I'm still gonna, like, keep an eye on it, but yeah, it's interesting. There are people speculating that they maybe are doing this so they can easily be sold off. Ubisoft has said as well that they are still looking into selling certain brands. So I can see maybe someone coming in and being like, oh, I like all these family-friendly things. I'm gonna buy Just Dance and everything else. So Creative House 5. Or, hey, I like the I don't know what like, have an indie studio actually make a proper Rayman game that doesn't need to sell 5 million to be profitable. Could actually work, you know. So what does it all mean? Well, basically it means that we have to wait even longer for some games that we thought were right around the corner. Of course, The Lost Far Cry launched in 2021. The Lost Ghost Recon launched in 2019. And we've been hearing about these new games for a long time. Ghost Recon was seemingly planned for this year. Far Cry 7 might have been revealed this year, launched next year. Those are all pushed, and we don't really know how far they got pushed. The Assassin's Creed roadmap, again, Hexe was going to be the title at the end of this year. It's probably going to be Black Flag now. And then you got the big anniversary, the 20th anniversary for Assassin's Creed, with Hexe, which could be cool too, but again, everything gets pushed. And like what they say here, the portfolio refocus will have significant impact on the group's short-term financial trajectory, particularly in fiscal years 2026, so the one we're currently at, which is until March 2026, and 2027. So that's the one starting in April 2026 until March 2027. But this reset will strengthen the group and enable it to renew with sustainable growth and robust cash generation. Ubisoft is entering a new phase, one designed to reclaim creative leadership and build value for players and stakeholders over the long term. Again, I've been covering Ubisoft games for 10 years now full time. They've said this shit many times. Like, the same people stay in power, we get the same CEO, and a lot of the other people there, obviously, they do change around stuff, but if they really want to maybe change things, maybe they should, like, look at those senior people that brought them into this position in the first place. Because what's really happening is that Ubisoft is, and that's what they are, fair enough, now changing a bit by, like, they are going to announce even more layoffs on February 12th when they do their investor call. I really hope for people that it's not too bad. So yeah, good luck if you're at Ubisoft right now. But yeah, they kind of need it. Like, they're such a huge company and the industry has changed. They can make successful products, but if you make a Ubisoft product right now, because they have 17,000 employees, they need to sell this amount. And some franchises, like, only, I really think, Assassin's Creed, Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, Far Cry, The Division can reach those levels to be profitable. For these other games, it's just very, very hard. Or they can still be profitable, but not, like, make enough money to sustain the whole business. So that's kind of the issue they are in. So they're now finally changing that. But yeah, that does mean that people will be losing their jobs. It means we right now are once again, we've been in this situation countless of times before, but what we thought would happen, we would get a very aggressive 2026 with Assassin's Creed. Now it will just be the Shadows post-launch. I mean, could still be fun. Like, I'm looking forward to the potential co-op mode and stuff like that. And then we get the Black Flag, like a bigger spotlight on Black Flag, likely in October, just before GTA. And then Hexe the year after that. Far Cry 7, maybe even in 2028, I don't know. Like, they really have to hit that out of the park, because Far Cry 6 wasn't great. They really gotta hit Ghost Recon out of the park, because Breakpoint wasn't great. So, I think it's good overall that they're putting way more resources and time into these projects. But I do think they could have done, and I don't think that will change with this new approach. I really think that there's so much mismanagement happening inside this company that it's even possible that a Splinter Cell remake has a development cycle of 5+ years. That we have Ghost Recon Breakpoint in 2019, and that even 7 years later, you cannot make a new game. Like, I get that you want to get it right, but there is a reason why some companies, like, you have to make realistic, like Beyond Good and Evil 2. Well, by the time that game comes out, is it like $500 million? No, there's never going to get its money back. So there are still these things, and as long as they don't change, I don't know if this company can be saved, or if the, like, we're selling, like, perfect. I think if they could, like, the best way forward for Ubisoft is to offload a ton of stuff, close a ton of studios, like, really do a great reset. This, like, a tiny step in that direction. Really be like, yo, just what like all these other big companies are already doing that. Activision, before they were bought by Microsoft, was only making Call of Duty. Oh, you were Toys for Bob? Now make Call of Duty maps right now. Like, it's not great, but it made them a ton of money. So yeah, they were just doing Call of Duty. Blizzard, you're only doing Overwatch, Diablo, Hearthstone, and World of Warcraft. That's it. And Ubisoft has these franchises on those levels as well, but it's being held back by all this other crap. So I think the best, like, to make Ubisoft sustainable is to just have Vantage Studios. just be the Assassin's Creed house, Rainbow Six Siege, and Far Cry. And yeah, sure, Division, but it's still a big gamble. Ghost Recon, big gamble as well. Offload them to maybe teams that, or other companies, or whatever that can. And that really sucks. But you really see right now the companies that are successful in this day and age. You got the Arc Raiders, you got, of course, Larian, you got, like, From Software. Like, these are companies that are way smaller. They're just focused on one or two very successful games or franchises. CD Projekt Red just doing Witcher and Cyberpunk, and they're making the cash. And Ubisoft is stuck in time. They are this huge company which worked 10, 20 years ago, but not right now anymore. And they're trying to be more agile with these changes, but they still also, it feels like they still have a long way to go. So I don't think this will be the end of it. I do think if, for example, the next Ghost Recon will not be successful, boom, major blow to that, that will be the end of that franchise. If the Division 3 is not successful, say goodbye to that franchise, etc, etc. But yeah, overall, it will be good that all these games are getting more time. In the end, it means better games, like we saw that with Shadows as well. It was certainly more polished than if it would have come out in November. So that is good. It does feel like they have to make that same mistake over and over, right? They're constantly saying, we're delaying it, so we're giving the game more time, which is good, but it basically tells you that they were always going to, even after some of their other delays that turned out better, they were still planning to launch the game with bugs or in a state that was not ideal. So they keep making that mistake, basically. We now have Tom Henderson saying the original plan for the Black Flag remake was to launch on March 19th as a digital-only release. The game was planned to go gold in the first week of February. So yeah, again, great. Give that game more time. I mean, launch it physically probably as well, which would be a good idea. Okay, again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll, of course, revisit this if we have updates, etc. I will also make other content on it. Of course, I will have a rundown on this news in the Sunday video with new updates on the main channel, so check that out. For now, subscribe to the React channel. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.